Hey everybody, it's Eric from epautos.com, your Libertarian car guy, and as you can see, I'm in the midst of tearing down the front end of my Kawasaki ZRX 1200, which post-divorce has been sitting for a long time, and as a result of that, I got some bad fork seals. But that's not the object of today's exercise. I just wanted to show you this before I get into the really cool stuff. And the really cool stuff starts with this as a hint. Hopefully you can see this, and you can see that it's a red color. I wonder if you know what this goes to. Let's have a walk outside and we shall see. Now, do you see? And what you probably think you see is a Jeep Cherokee, and that is what you see, but this is a special Jeep Cherokee. Let's just look a little bit closer. I'm going to show you some of the little tells about this particular Jeep. And then I'll tell you some more about this particular Jeep. And then there's this. And finally, there's this. Now, some of you probably already know what you're looking at. And what we're looking at here is the Trackhawk version of the Jeep Grand Cherokee. And what that is, basically, is a Hellcat in four-wheel drive Jeep Grand Cherokee disguise. It's got the same 6.2 liter 707 horsepower Hemi engine. Let's have a look at that while I'm talking. As in the Hellcat Challenger, difference being that in this case it is in the very discreet packaging of this Jeep Grand Cherokee. In fact, it's even more discreet than the SRT 392 Durango that I wrote about last week, and which you can read about over at epautos.com. That one had red 392 badges on the side and a few other more obvious tells to people who knew what they were looking for. Still, though, very discreet. However, this one's even more discreet. You may notice on the hood, for example, the Durango had a 3-scoop hood. Actually, they're air bleeds. Not actually ducting air to the engine, but bleeding hot air off of the engine. This one is missing the center hood scoop that you'd find in the on the Durango SRT 392. Instead, it's got these pressed-in vents, which are very, very subtle. Only the trained eye knows what to look for. Now, let's have a look at the most important thing. Yeah, as OJ might say, looky here or look out. Isn't that a beautiful sight? 707 horsepower. I boggle every time I think about that because that's really not that far off of the power output of a current Nextel Cup stock car. And unlike a Nextel Cup stock car, this thing has climate control, air conditioning, heated seats, a fantastic Beats stereo system, and you can drive it in traffic. I don't think you could drive a Nextel Cup car in traffic. Also, like the Durango SRT, being an SUV, this thing's got some ground clearance, and it's got all-wheel drive. Doesn't have low-range gearing, but it does have all-wheel drive. So that means you can take it in the grass, you could take it on gravel roads, you could even take it a little bit off-road if you perhaps needed to do that. Anyway, this thing is just amazing. I can't really come up with sufficient superlatives to convey to you what this thing is and what it's capable of, but I will try my best. To give you some perspective, this thing accelerates to 60 in about 3 seconds, and that is right there with a 911 GT3 Porsche. It is very close to the 0 to 60 times that some sport bikes are capable of. It's extremely difficult to find anything on four wheels that can outrun this thing, and whatever can doesn't outrun it by much. They say that teleportation is not possible. I say it is. All you have to do is mash the gas and you're there in this thing. All right, I'm going to kick it over so that you can hear it and listen to the sound that makes the entire Persian Gulf stand up and cheer. Isn't that fabulous? And the best part of it is it's docile. I can't get over it. What they have been able to do with relatively ancient technology in the general sense. This is not an overhead cam engine. It does not have 4 valve cylinder heads. It is a pushrod 2-valve V8 engine with a blower on it. And it's 707 horsepower. My old muscle car with its 455 V8 probably is making around 350 horsepower modified with a pretty aggressive cam that's on the edge of being not really streetable. It goes chop, 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 chop. And you want to keep it moving because it tends to overheat if you don't. These things are as everyday drivable as a Corolla, but a whole hell of a lot more fun to drive than a Corolla. Anyway, I'm going to do some road test videos furtively, which I'll post up later at epautos.com. And I'll have a written review up at some point within the next day or two. Most recently, if you go to the site, you can catch an interview that I did with David Knight over at InfoWars. And I also just posted an article that's kind of depressing about BMW being crucified in the UK by one of their advertising regulatory government busybody bureaucracies over an ad for their xDrive all-wheel drive system, which this government bureaucracy decreed encouraged unsafe driving. At any rate, you can read about that up at epautos.com, and I'll have more for you about this fantastic Trackhawk very shortly. So thanks for viewing, and we'll catch up with you soon.